Yeah.
He's like very aggressive. I want to talk to this guy. If I told him what...
I'm sorry you guys go through all this. Very much. Appreciate you. Yeah. She's the boss whenever she's ready.
Okay, yeah, I'll just be here at this corner. But
Hey, the
you
only
can...
thing you got to know is that I talk with my hands.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Just try not to get that in there.
Okay.
Just because I'm supposed to cover all my ink, and this one kind of peeks out every now and then.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice.
It's the watch. The watch doesn't even work. But
oh, for sure. Yeah. All right.
every now and then, my boss is like, "You get a bigger watch band." Most of it's under, but
It'll do. It'll be good. I'll be right over here.
you said you're a pro. I'll take your word for it.
So first of all, were you down here when all this stuff was happening last night? What did you see?
Absolute chaos. I mean, just total chaos and mayhem. Yeah, we saw people running from one spot to the next, just randomly breaking out windows, throwing things at the officers, and then just the destruction of property. It was really, you felt it. I mean, being invested in the community, and loving the city. It didn't matter if you were a police officer, a business owner, or just someone who lives here in town. What you saw probably brought tears to your eyes.
When I left at 1:30 on the other side of the bridge, it seemed like everything was kind of petering out. How did it start back up?
It wasn't really petering out. What we think is that there was probably some organization going on within their group. The other thing was it puts us in a really bad spot right about bar closing. You want to give the innocent bystanders a fair opportunity to get out of the way before we have to take any kind of intervention.
Well, I know this question will sound... with the way that things worked out, with the way that protesters went from here up to the Capitol, back to here or back over there, did police fall into any sort of, trap, that could have led to more destruction down here?
No. I mean, you want to control the chaos the best you can. You want to give everybody a fair opportunity to express their voice. I mean, that's the one thing that really kind of stood out for us when we talked about the peaceful protests that we've been seeing. Those were people that just wanted to be seen and be heard and walk alongside our community leaders. The other folks really just ruined it, and they're trying to steal that voice.
So, when I was working on the shooting stuff yesterday, I heard some of the scanner chatter.
Do you need me to move?
Oh, no. Okay, I'm talking to you. Take location of the park here.
Are you working?
No, I'm going to go out and see if they can help.
Just put your flashers on.
I'll wait for this motorcycle to move to the boss and get her audio.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about what our thoughts were about coming down.
Yeah.
But go ahead and answer the question.
When I was working on the shooting stuff yesterday afternoon, I heard the scanner chatter for the march that was happening. The peaceful march. In fact, that was a big headline on our website, was that 1,000 people marched peacefully. What are ways that...
And very organized.
What are some of the ways that police supported, say, that march, that peaceful march?
Yeah, the big thing, it's you want to find a good balance when you're supporting something like that. You don't want to be, you don't want to have too much of a presence, but you don't want to be entirely absent because they need support for safety. If they're walking down like they did University Avenue, you certainly want to be there to protect them from traffic. We got to figure out a plan. That's East 14th University, one of the busiest intersections in this city. We have to be there to formulate a plan to get traffic flowing through there.
And as we mentioned, that happened right next to a crime scene yesterday too.
It didn't.
Oh wait, no, not near your university. Sorry, I was thinking D.
Yeah, but you're right, 1400 block.
Yeah.
So, so you want to be able to make sure that there's as minimal an impact on the city as possible, but they have as much freedom of movement as they need to do what they want to do. So the best thing we do is like we did. We just provide traffic support to ensure their safety. Anytime there's a protest, it's always in the back of our minds about a counter-protest. That's something that you have to always take into consideration. So you want to make sure you've got at least some resources that can report something's brewing.
Back to blue, you're doing the right thing.
So that if something does happen, someone can report it to us, and then we can get the resources there we need to address it.
Was, from our perspective, we all thought, all of the registered staff last night thought that last night's march was very disorganized. What did the police department think?
It was same thing. Our perception was that it was very disorganized, and what that tells you is that there's a lot of people that maybe weren't together to have a plan, but came together and made a plan.
What do you mean by that?
Created on the fly. They might have. Thank you, sir. They might have some shared views, different ideas about how to go about it, and then you have chaos.
That squares with what I heard. 'Cause I was up at the front when they were, initially it sounded like they were marching to the courthouse, and then went to the sculpture. Then they didn't know where they were going. That went to the sculpture park, eventually came back down here.
Yeah, and that part of our strategic planning is when they make those moves like that, trying to figure out, is there an intended destination at the other end? And when you start seeing that kind of randomness to their movement, you almost wonder if, are they trying to throw us off of something, or are they lost, or are they just going to walk in circles and just create as much chaos as they can by interrupting traffic, which, quite frankly, on a Saturday night in the Loop, as long as we can help you not get run over, you're not really going to bother anybody.
That's how, honestly, that's how it seemed for a good 90 minutes. In that same vein, what were the big differences between Friday night and Saturday night's protest, excluding the Saturday afternoon march?
Okay, so that was close. Are you talking about the violence Friday night versus the violence here?
Yeah, I think that's what.
The thing about Friday is that it seemed, from our perspective, watching it happen, it seemed like people really needed to almost talk themselves into taking that first step. This, from the moment they arrived at the police station Saturday night till the moment we put the handcuffs on the last person, they were antagonizing and trying to instigate some type of a confrontation throughout the entire event. Now, I actually saw a comment on the internet yesterday that I usually keep my nose out of this stuff, and I talked myself down, and I did keep my nose out, but someone who actually accused us of hiding in the police department, waiting for an opportunity to come out and intervene. I think it said they were just waiting, we were hiding in the police station waiting to be provoked. What we do is we try to give them the space so we're not interfering, so that we're not distracting from what they want to do. And quite honestly, we understand that some people are triggered by the mere presence of a police officer. That's not something that is lost on us. We've learned that through the training that we emphasize at our academy, and we've got ways to work around that. So we try to be out of sight. Everything would have gone perfect last night if I wouldn't have had to get out of my chair and leave the building. That would have been the perfect end of the evening. I certainly didn't want to be standing down here in Court Avenue having rocks bounce off my head. Or helmet. I did wear my helmet last night.
I was going to say, I saw you with it on. Another question my editor wanted me to ask, and I know this is a real vague question, but what is the police department stance on all of these protests?
Exactly as we don't want to sound cliche about it, but it's the same position we take with the political protests that we might see during the caucuses, or some of the protests that we've seen at the World Food Prize. And that is, this is a place where we want you to feel safe to express your opinion. We want you to feel comfortable, having your voice heard and being seen. And when somebody comes along and steals that from you, that does become very frustrating to us, because there's no reason for us to be involved in your First Amendment.
At least at the Capitol, it appears that the state patrol is using rubber bullets, so we haven't confirmed that.
No, I think there's actually, I talked to Dinkla about it, because what I think it is, I think it might be called, I can't remember what it's called, but hey,
good work.
Thanks, man. Hey, buddy, eyes on the road.
Baseball game.
How you doing, man? I gave you a baseball?
Yeah.
I missed baseball season. Oh, heck yeah. Well, have fun on your ride. I wish I was joining you. See you later. I give away like 8 balls a game to kids when I'm working. Hey, what up, buddy? Good.
Like I was saying last night, I'd give anything for a Saturday night baseball game.
What was your last
Rubber
question?
bullets.
Oh, I think it's actually got CS gas in it, but the idea is that it kind of spreads out. So there's like little pieces of rubber shrapnel.
Okay.
It looks like, I don't know, did you see those black grenade things?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's what I saw. The last time, I know you weren't down there, but the last time that happened, we were about 15 feet away. Like,
At the Capitol?
Yeah.
I was up there.
Oh, so we were, when they were down on that little promenade.
Oh yeah, we didn't go down there.
Yeah, so, I mean, I was doing one-on-ones, and then...
I saw you doing one at our station.
Yeah.
Sitting out there in front of the memorial with that guy.
Well, and that was the guy, too, who was very anti-violence. He was very vocal throughout the protest, but I saw him.
He's vocal until he gets shouted down. You know, that's what happens when you get to that point where the people who want to create chaos, they get, I think they do, intimidate the folks who don't want it.
I'll be honest, once the nasty stuff started happening, I lost sight of it. But yeah, we were about 15 feet away the last time they deployed pepper spray on that promenade down there at the Capitol.
It's pretty heavy duty.
Oh, that was the worst. I got it in my nose and my lung and my throat. Has the Des Moines Police Department used rubber bullets or any of the non-lethal projectiles?
No, we've used tear gas and pepper spray.
Are those options that could be used?
Oh, we've got all that stuff, yeah. But you want your use of force and your intervention to be the lowest level possible for a variety of reasons. We're not in this business to hurt anybody, and everybody knows that. But you also have to think about, like when we were talking about Court Avenue, we wanted to give the folks who came down here and who were maybe going to a bar, going to a restaurant, folks who came down here just to spectate. We wanted to give them a fair opportunity to get out of the area before we came down here, because we knew we were going to meet resistance when we tried to stop this chaos.
Well, I know last night you were telling me about how the decision is made to protect public safety, how it's made at that exact point to protect the safety of the people down here.
That's more annoying than the motor.
I can't tell you the number of times last night I was trying to record videos when there was MIA playing in the background.
In 500 feet, the destination is on your right.
Oh boy, and then he's got Siri going too. 500 feet is destination. Is he going to Pints?
I'm just gonna say, yep.
Oh, hey, well, we got to pause in the action. If you need anything, there you go.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, switch.
There were a couple people, there was one person in particular who I spoke with who was irate about the use of force. He didn't quite have his facts straight, to be completely honest. But for people who don't understand how that decision is made to use that force at certain times, can you walk me through that?
Well, you have to weigh, one, the risk versus the reward. And that's the risk of injury to the person we're using the force against. It's the risk of injury to the officer. It's the risk of injury to a bystander. And then what's the reward? Are we saving a life, or are we protecting property? That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So like with Court Avenue, when we were thinking about giving everybody who doesn't want to be part of this an opportunity to get out of here, the concerns about property become secondary. We could fix these windows. Thanks. We could fix these windows. We could rebuild this stuff down here. We can't replace a life. And that's what this whole thing is supposed to be about.
Well, I mean, are you at all concerned that the protests tonight, there's the vigil, and now there's 2 more protests I think scheduled for today. Are you worried that this will continue to escalate?
What concerns us, what we were talking about, the no plan, making a plan. When something pops up very quickly, there's not a lot of time to organize, and that's where you might run into just problems like we saw with North on 7th Street, back down to, just no destination, no plan, and just people milling around looking for something to do.
Sure.
I've been working with the organizer of the Candlelight Vigil. He has got a good plan. He's got his head in the right place, his heart in the right place. He wants to bring people together for the reason that everything was supposed to be about.
A vigil is kind of a somber thing, too.
Should be.
I spoke with a couple business owners down here at Spaghetti Works and Court Avenue Brewing. Sorry, who were maybe worried they might have to close again because of the violence escalates after they just reopened COVID.
You mean like a proclamation to close?
Yeah, that they might have, the city might force them to close again, or in a formal way.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I thought you were. I wanted to make sure we're talking about some type of an order to close versus their decision.
Specifically an order. Is that something the city or the police department may consider?
You know, it's certainly an option. It's something that we definitely don't want to have to do. It would take somebody besides the police department. I mean, we can do it in the moment. You know, if something's too dangerous, we can shut something down. We have that authority, particularly a liquor license establishment. But when it comes to, you know, taking away someone's livelihood, we want to stay as far away from that as we possibly can. I mean, we're a little over 2 months into the COVID crisis, and what we want to do is start rebuilding, start bringing our businesses up out of those ashes and getting our economy back in place, getting our social lives back in place. Shutting somebody down would be counterproductive in that fashion.
In that same vein, I'm just curious, were you surprised at the number of people out here today?
Personally, yeah. Professionally, no. I know that stuff like this is of interest. People want to see.
Well, I mean,
and it does help some people actually take it in and understand exactly what happened. It's one thing for us to talk about broken windows and graffiti. It's a total another thing to actually stand there and take a look at it.
I guess it's a way of the community processing what happened.
That's a really good way of putting it.
Well, the community health, I mean, we were just talking, like, this isn't the biggest point of the story, but, you know, people have been cooped up because of COVID. It's a relatively nice day. And now they can come down and see this and maybe support the businesses. Final thing I have for you, I think, I know you gotta go, is...
I told my next appointment between 3 and 3:30, so that means 3:30.
I already addressed that question. Do you think that if it rains tonight, it looks like it might, do you think that will scare any of the protesters off?
I don't think it'll scare anybody off, but nobody likes to be uncomfortable. There's nothing worse than being cold and wet. But, you know, I think the people, this is one thing that you see over and over and over again. The people that go somewhere and do something for the right reasons, they'll write it out.
One thing I forgot was, you know, I know before I lived here, I think there had been other protests. Do you remember any that have gotten this severe?
Never. This never. Now, you know, my dad's retired. He's passed away, but he's retired. But he's told stories about similar things back in the 60s and 70s, late 60s, early 70s, but nothing on this scale. Nothing on this scale. I mean, I've been in you know, bar fights that get out of control where you might have 25, 30 people throwing stuff at the police or at each other. Those things fizzle out fast because nobody wants to go to jail.
Well, I asked you last night about the change concerns that people have. You know, people want change. People want more diverse police forces and reforms, and they don't want to be profiled. I specifically told a man who was told by a person that he was held at gunpoint by 3 officers in Wisconsin because they thought he had stolen a car.
I can't armchair quarterback that.
No, it's up in northern, and I'm not trying to.
No, I'm just saying, when you first say that, if we stop somebody in a stolen car, that's a felony stop situation. There will be guns.
So what I guess what I'm saying is, you said last night, you know, is throwing rocks at midnight stuff won't accomplish stuff.
It's not going to accomplish anything. It's not going to change anything.
But again, the other form of protest, the department, the courts may very well do that.
Absolutely, we're part of it. You know, when you think about, like, when the protest Friday night from 5 on, you know, the initial, we could hear what was being said there. There were so many things that we could get behind. And when we were actually sitting around the table talking, one of the speakers was talking about, you know, reaching out and connecting with our youth and preparing for our future. And we were sitting there thinking, that sounds like our youth programs. You know, connecting in our neighborhoods sounds like our neighborhood-based services. You know, it sounds like the things we've been doing for decades. The one thing that we always have to make sure you do is you got to get the people to the table.
But you guys are listening.
Absolutely, we're listening. We're listening, we're participating, and we have been for a long time. But again, you got to get everybody there. Sometimes it's hard to get everybody to sit down. If you start with the idea that you have opposing views, if you can start with the idea that you have a shared goal, you might get somewhere faster.
Yeah, I mean, like what? I mean, this isn't. I'm done, but you know, like it.
You're done, so I can relax.
I try to explain to my friends, you know, these issues, and I talk to them about all the good cops I talk to. I talk to them about all the crap. We had a phone conversation on Friday about this when this stuff was first unfolding. What did your officers think when they saw that video?
Well, we shared in the same sentiments, the shock and the disgust. You know, it was something that we could see that we definitely know is not part of our culture. It definitely was not part of the values that our organization has. And there's really nothing more disgusting to a good cop than a bad cop.
Are your officers taught to do anything like that?
Oh, neck restraints, no. You're taught the exact opposite. The neck is off limits.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, you bet, man. You guys have a good day. Holler if you need anything, Olivia. Phil, holler if you need anything.
Yeah,